The 1960s gave us velvet harmonies, sweat-soaked grooves, and voices that shaped generations. It was the golden age of soul, but not every group was embraced with open arms. Behind the hits, behind the charts, and behind the smiles were bands caught in feuds, backlash, politics, jealousy, and industry power plays. Some were hated for being too raw, others for being too polished, some for speaking up, others for simply existing at the wrong time. Tonight on Soul Lens, we're counting down 15 of the most hated R&B and soul bands of the 1960s, and why the truth behind that hate is far more complicated than history remembers. This isn't about canceling legends. It's about understanding the pressure, the prejudice, and the price of greatness. Let's begin. Number 15, the M.A.R.V.L.E.T.T.E.S., Motown's first queens, forgotten too soon. Before Diana Ross became America's sweetheart, before Motown perfected its polish, there were the Marvelettes. In 1961, these teenage girls from Inkster, Michigan scored Motown's first ever #1 hit with Please Mr. Postman. They should have been untouchable. Instead, criticism came fast. Industry insiders called them too raw, too young, too girlish, not refined enough for crossover success. As Motown's machine evolved, Berry Gordy quietly shifted money, promotion, and attention toward the Supremes. Fans noticed, so did the press. Rumors of favoritism spread. Jealousy brewed behind the scenes. By the late 60s, some radio DJs even refused to play their records, dismissing them as yesterday's sound. But the music never disappeared. Smokey Robinson continued writing for them, and songs like Don't Mess with Bill aged into quiet classics. Still, the damage was done. The Marvelettes weren't hated for failing. They were resented for succeeding too early. Number 14, the Funk Brothers, the greatest band nobody was allowed to know. They played on more #1 hits than the Beatles, Elvis, and the Rolling Stones combined, and most people didn't know their names. The Funk Brothers were Motown's house band, the architects of the Detroit sound. Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Stevie Wonder, the Supremes. But Motown kept them invisible. No credits, no album covers, no royalties that matched their impact. Some fans dismissed them as just session players. Outside musicians whispered that they were too slick, too studio-made, not real performers. The truth, they were so good, they made perfection look easy. That excellence bred resentment and silence. It took decades and the 2002 documentary, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, for the world to finally give them their flowers. In the 60s, though, they were hated not for what they did, but for being the faceless engine behind everything people loved.
Only a small percentage of people watching right now are subscribed. If these stories matter to you, or you felt something watching, hit subscribe. Soul history deserves to be remembered properly. Now, back to the countdown. Number 13, The Impressions. Too political for comfort. With Curtis Mayfield at the helm, the Impressions didn't just make songs. They made statements. People Get Ready wasn't entertainment. It was a call to action, and not everyone wanted to hear it. White radio stations blocked them. Southern promoters blacklisted them. Even within black radio, some programmers hesitated, fearing lost ad revenue. Critics whispered, "They're getting too political." The Impressions had crossed an invisible line, shifting from love songs to civil rights anthems. They stood firm, but the backlash was real. In the 1960s, speaking truth came with a cost. Loved by the movement, feared by the industry. The Impressions became a band you either stood with or stood against. Number 12, the Isley Brothers. Rebels the industry couldn't control.
You know you make me wanna shout.
By the early 60s, Shout had already made the Isley Brothers stars. But labels didn't know what to do with them.
Don't forget to say.
Were they gospel, soul, rock, funk? They bounced from RCA to Motown, then finally walked away to form T-Neck Records. Executives labeled them difficult, cocky, unmanageable.
You wanna please me? Come on.
Motown shelved their recordings and offered little support. Critics called them too loud, too brash, too different. But difference was the point. When they returned in 1969 with It's Your Thing, it wasn't just a hit. It was a declaration. The hate came because the Isleys refused to play by rules written to control them.
I want you to know.
Number 11. The Bluebells too powerful for their time. Before Patti LaBelle became a legend, she fronted the Bluebells. They had glamour. They had vocals. They had presence. What they didn't have was timing. By the mid-60s, their classic style was being pushed aside for younger, edgier acts. Audiences booed them off stages. Critics called them outdated. Behind the scenes, comparisons to the Supremes stung. Patti was labeled too bold, too brassy, too much. History would later prove that voice was ahead of its time. But in the moment, being ahead often looks like being rejected. Number 10. The Chambers Brothers' psychedelic soul outcasts. When Time Has Come Today hit in 1967, it blew minds and sparked outrage. Soul purists accused the Chambers Brothers of selling out to white rock audiences. Black radio hesitated. Columbia Records delayed their album, unsure how to market them. Distorted guitars, reverb-soaked vocals, long experimental arrangements. Some called it novelty soul. What they missed was the message beneath the sound. Songs about time, race, and change. The Chambers Brothers weren't confused. They were just early. Number 9. The Dixie Cups. Sweet voices, harsh judgments.
My grandma and your grandma.
Chapel of Love shot them to number 1 in 1964. But success came with skepticism. Critics dismissed the Dixie Cups as a studio project, puppets for pop producers. Their New Orleans roots were overlooked. Their follow-ups labeled novelty records. Softness was mistaken for emptiness. In reality, their Creole rhythms and harmonies carried heritage the industry refused to credit. Number 8. The Andantes' Ghosts in the Groove. You've heard them, even if you didn't know it. The Andantes secretly replaced original Motown members on countless recordings. The label believed perfection mattered more than loyalty. When the truth surfaced, resentment exploded. Artists felt betrayed. Fans cried fake soul. The Andantes didn't ask for hate. They were caught inside a machine that valued polish over people. Number 7. Booker T and the MGs integrated and isolated. One of the first interracial R&B bands in America. That alone made them targets. Southern promoters refused bookings. Shows turned dangerous. Radio stations questioned optics. They didn't sing. They didn't fit the image. Yet they powered the sound behind Otis Redding and Sam and Dave. Hated by some, respected by legends. Number 6. The Platters. Legends lost in lawsuits. By the 60s, the name The Platters had splintered. Multiple groups toured under the same name. Fans felt cheated. Promoters avoided them. What was once elegance became confusion. The hate wasn't about the music. It was about a legacy stretched too thin. Number 5. The contours too raw for Motown shine. Do You Love Me exploded. Sweaty, frantic, undeniable. Motown didn't love it. The contours were seen as rough, too Detroit, too unpolished. They didn't fit the image Motown was selling. That tension pushed them aside, but made their sound immortal. Number 4. Love the Band. The industry didn't know what to do with. Led by Arthur Lee, Love blurred genres and broke rules. Critics praised Forever Changes. Radio ignored it. Black frontman, white-leaning sound, no touring, no compromise. They were hated for refusing to explain themselves. Number 3. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. One voice, too much drama.
Thank you.
Teddy Pendergrass was the voice. Harold Melvin had the name. That imbalance caused tension fans could feel. Accusations of control, money disputes, and ego followed them everywhere. But even hate couldn't erase songs like If You Don't Know Me By Now. Number 2. The Bar-Kays tragedy that never let go. After surviving the plane crash that killed Otis Redding, the Bar-Kays were questioned for continuing. Some called it disrespect. Others said it was survival. They pushed forward and built Memphis funk. Still, the shadow never fully lifted. Number 1. James Brown's famous flames burned by the spotlight. They helped create the godfather of soul, but history nearly erased them. As James Brown took center stage, the famous flames were pushed aside. Credit vanished. Tension exploded. Bobby Bird walked away. Fans took sides.
You know you're out of sight.
Recognition came decades later. Far too late for many. These bands weren't hated because they lacked talent. They were hated because they challenged systems, expectations, and power. Greatness is rarely comfortable in real time. If this journey through soul history moved you, subscribe to Soul Lens. Keep the groove alive. And next up, the 15 most hated R&B bands of the 1970s. Click the end screen and let the harmony carry you forward.